Hey, in this video we're going to cover what, if you were to number on your review, would be problems 4 and 7. So if these are the ones you're wanting to look at, um, watch this. Let's see. Go to the pen. All right, first question. Triangle ABC is equilateral. What is the measure of arc X? If you're not sure, by the way, about what this means, you really do need to know. When you have a little m like that, that typically in geometry means measure. And then we have arc X. That is going to be a measurement in degrees. Measurement of an arc is in degrees. And it's going to be the same as the measurement of the central angle. We don't have a central angle in this picture. But if you do have a central angle, the central angle measurement and the arc are the same. Okay, so it's an equilateral triangle. That means all three sides are congruent. Once we know that, we can also understand that all three angles inside the triangle have to be congruent. So we easily can figure that out if you don't know right offhand what that's going to be. 180, because that's all three angles in any triangle, they add up to be 180, divided by 3. When you do that, you get 60. So each angle is 60 degrees. That happens every time in an equilateral triangle. All right, so we want the measure of arc X. I'm going to highlight X. Arc X is this arc right here. Now, I do recommend that you get a highlighter or something and you mark these things. If you're having trouble identifying them, use your pen, use your pencil. Okay, so we don't have arc X. There's a couple different ways to approach this problem. But I do see that angle C intercepts the same places on the circle as arc X does. There's part of C, and there's the other part of C. Do you see that they intersect right here? Or they both come through the circle, or they both start and stop on the circle at the same place? So that means arc X is going to be 2 times angle C. I don't like how I wrote that there. Let me change that. All right, angle C is an inscribed angle. We know that because it has its vertex on the circle. The vertex right there, point C, is on the circumference of the circle. And an inscribed angle is half of the arc that it intercepts. Okay, so if 60 is half of that arc, then that arc is going to be 120 degrees. All right, let's do another one. I want to do problem number, what I think would be 7 if you went through and numbered them. Let's do this one. Find arc length AB. Well, before we find the arc length, let me find the arc measure. So I'm going to add a question here. Okay, arc measure AB is the measure in degrees of this arc right here. Well, the arc measure is always the exact same thing as the central angle measure, if you have a central angle right there. And we do. We have an angle whose vertex is the center of the circle and who comes out at exactly the same places, A and B, as the arc did. That central angle is 32, so our arc measure AB is also 32 degrees. Okay, the next part says, oh, I wrote that wrong, didn't I? Time out. All right, the next question says, find the arc length of AB. Well, I need to come down here where I have a little extra space. You've seen me do this several times in class, but arc length is a formula that we need to know. Arc length formula is arc measure, which is degrees, divided by 360, which is also degrees, times our circumference, which is 2 pi r. All right, so in this case, let's find the arc length of AB. We're going to say that equals the arc measure of AB, which we just figured out is 32 degrees, divided by 360 degrees, times our circumference, which is 2 pi times the radius. What is the radius of this circle? It's 5. So that is going to give you, let me get my calculator out. I got 2.79. If we had units, that would be in something like inches or meters or something like that. Oops, that's not working, is it? 7.9. Okay, find the arc measure of ADB. I should have put a little arc over that so that you would know I'm talking about arc ADB. Anytime an arc has 3 letters in its name, you know it's a major arc. So that means we're going to be bigger than 180, which means we're going to go from A to B. See, from A to B. But we have to go through point D. So we have to go through here. So that means this is the arc that we're talking about. All right, what is the arc measure of that arc? Well, all the way around a circle is 360 degrees. If we have this 32 here that we need to take out, then we just simply say 360 minus 32 gives us 328 degrees. All right, so 328 degrees. Okay, find the arc length of, that should have an arc, ADB. Well, we're just going to use our formula again. We're going to use the same formula right here. I'm going to erase the previous one so that I have some room. All right, let's see. So our arc length this time is our arc measure, which is 328 degrees, divided by 360 degrees, times our circumference, which is exactly the same as it was last time. It's 2 pi times our radius. So we get that in our calculator. And I got 28.62. Okay, last question. Find the measure of ADB. Well, let me erase my mess here. Might be easier if you can see what's going on. All right, A, that is an angle, the measure of angle, ADB. So we need to go from A to D down to B. All right, we need the angle, measure of that angle. Well, what kind of angle is that? Is it an inscribed angle or a central angle? It is an inscribed angle, which means it's going to be half of the measure of this arc right here. Well, we know the measure of that arc. We already found it. It was 32 degrees. This is a 32-degree arc. So half of 32 is 16. So our answer for the measure of the angle ADB is 16 degrees. All right, that's it for this video.